Because I'm not here to critique Insecure. I'm here to review Insecure. Until I get a check, it's really none of my business anyway. Hey you guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my bedroom. I'm here in Vietnam still, but I'm really looking forward to my time here because we're getting off of quarantine, so I'm not gonna be in bed forever. I asked some people on Instagram though, if I started a mukbang series, what are some topics that they'd want me to discuss from bed? And although I liked some of the answers, no one really said what I was already thinking, and that's to talk about Insecure because I love that show. I love TV. I watch TV like 10 hours a day. I feel like I watch a video every 30 minutes, but I could be exaggerating. Anyway, Insecure is one of those shows where a lot of people enjoy it because they can relate, and I like shows that entertain me even if I don't relate to it, but Insecure just is triggering as fuck. There's a lot of things in there that I know a lot of people can kind of feel on any level, no matter what you got going on. I want to break down scenes and call attention to the small details and, talk about the things that people aren't really talking about. I usually go on Twitter. That's like my go-to for these things, these conversations, these discussions. But at the end of the day, people just end up projecting a lot of their triggers and insecurities on Twitter. So that's not my go-to anymore. I know that there's a podcast called Insecurity. Just seeing Black women talk about Black women problems. I love to see it. So I'm about to go warm up some food, but if you have not watched Insecure, then this is your time to vacate the premises. You ain't gotta go home. You ain't gotta leave for real. You can just go through my channel, see what other content videos are on there to pique your interest, subscribe, join the family because you here already. So, clearly you fucking with something. Honestly, I really don't want to spoil anything for you. So if you have not watched Insecure, if you have not gotten your life and gotten that far in your life yet, it's okay. Come back. Okay. We got fries. We got mozzarella sticks. We got tea. Well, I don't got tea, but I got tea for the show. So let me get my notes so we can get started. Alright, so we might as well start from the beginning where we recap episode 3 and Molly's starting to throw her shade at Issa about her relationship with Lawrence and her relationship with Condola. Now, I don't know if it's people who are just catching on to Insecure and watching it as intensely as the rest of us who have been standing since the beginning. But Lawrence and Issa's relationship has been developing. Basically, they've never really proven that they've been over each other, so I think the fact that they're still communicating does not surprise me at all. But I like that everyone's trying to play up the whole talking to your ex thing, because then it brings up the conversation of, are you friends with your exes? If you are, in what ways? Can you send texts? Can y'all go for lunch? Are those things that are still appropriate? But I can't really talk about Issa and Lawrence's relationship without talking about Issa and Lawrence separately. So let's just start with Lawrence since he had the opening scene. So we start with Lawrence giving himself a pep talk in the mirror, and I'm triggered from the beginning because we're talking about work, and it's a very complicated conversation when you're talking about someone who you've seen go from stable to broke to stable again. I think the topic of being stable and what that means for you is really important. We watched Lawrence get dragged online for not having a job, and that's how we were introduced to him, being kind of broke. And seeing his character develop to a state where now he's vulnerable again and worried about getting fired, because face it, he's probably gonna get fired, is interesting. It promotes two conversations in my head. You can't really feel secure even when you think you are in a job. So it's kind of important to really invest in yourself. We know that Lawrence has all these business ideas and he has all these things to really make him an entrepreneur, but yet he's still not an entrepreneur. And then we have Issa, who's actually getting into that lane and getting into that bag. And I feel like it's going to be very interesting if Lawrence loses his job. This is the second conversation, because then it's how is he going to react? Is he going to go back to that really vulnerable space where he's kind of projecting his insecurities onto the relationship? Because he got a whole new relationship going on right now. And it's just I don't know if we're trying to bring on that baggage right away. But then you start to see Lawrence's insecurities start to really come up with him inviting himself to the Thanksgiving dinner that Condola was hosting. And you just kind of feel that neediness coming from him. And I can sense that it's coming from this insecure space that he has. And obviously that's the running theme of the show. You're seeing every character in their most vulnerable spaces. You're seeing what they're really insecure about. But when it comes to Lawrence, I feel like people just don't show him any mercy. I just want to note that Lawrence is the kind of guy that you want to really pay attention to the company he keeps. His best friend is like King Denial. He's in a relationship that he does not actually commit himself to wholeheartedly, and we see how it comes out in the rest of his life, yet Lawrence is still really best friends with him, and you know that birds of a feather flock together. Yeah, overall, I just think that Lawrence has so many issues that are so deep in there. He's not really putting in the work like we see some of the other characters doing to get that shit out. So it's just pouring itself out. But we're gonna get there. But shout out to the soundtrack. Insecure soundtrack is always popping. I had to write down some of these. We have songs from Vince Staples, from his online web series, Feng Shui by Jadena, Boy Bye, Brockhampton, Kool-Aid by Kirby, and I know y'all heard Maya at the end. Like, come through. Every transition where a song is playing, it reminds me of hopping in the car and blasting some music before you get to the next function or before you get to the next like thing. It just feels so reminiscent. I feel like I'm literally with my niggas. Excuse me. Second note, the wardrobe. I loved Issa Rae's like banana blazer. Ugh, Molly had some tweed type of top. Oh, I like seeing that many layers on folks in LA. I think LA, and I just think shorts and tank tops, but it gets cold. There's just so many little bits to Insecure that I appreciate. I love all the social media transitions, you know, where they like show you what they're seeing on their Instagram story, or they show you what they're watching on TV. All these media references, it helps us kind of like get into the scene, and it makes me feel like whatever dimension that they're in, I'm a part of that same dimension. And I love that I don't see any white people. When I saw scenes from Issa Rae's coffee shop, and I don't know if you guys know that, but she owns a coffee shop now in LA, and I heard it's really dope. And whenever she films in it, I just think, damn, this is like the perfect opportunity to really show Black-owned businesses, Black extras, Black actors, just Black. This is what we need more of. This is what we should be seeing. This is what we want to support. Like all the little things that people in the show enjoy about the coffee shop, I bet is enjoyable in real life. I definitely would want to check that out. Okay, so continuing on. I want to bring up how to me, Issa is not acknowledging Molly's growth. I think in a lot of their conversations, and I said this from the first episode, it's just strained. And I just feel like Issa keeps speaking at Molly instead of speaking to Molly. And this is the scene where they're in the grocery store and like they start to have that tension build up to the point where the pimple pops and they throw hella shade towards each other. It's necessary. Like if you can't do that with your friend and get to a point where you're like, do we have a problem? Then y'all not real friends. You gotta be comfortable with communicating, however that communication style is. And for them, it was throwing shade until it got to the point of, you know what, let's talk about this like adults later. So shout out to their growth in that. But yeah, all these issues coming up, Molly and her dad, Issa and her brother, I think it's just helping everyone have more healthier conversations, even if you have to just bring up a media reference to have the conversation. Like, hey, did you see that episode of Insecure? Yeah, what'd you think about that scene? These are good ways to just like get those topics that are a little awkward out on the table. Did anyone else peep though the pressure that Molly's mom was kind of applying to her about having kids and when that was gonna happen, and then how that shade just kind of like migrated over to her boyfriend or the Asian dude that she's dating? Her mom seemed perplexed that Molly was dating outside of what was considered their norm. And I don't necessarily mean because he's not Black. I mean because her brothers have these two girlfriends who are like, one's just a baby mom who seemingly can be forgotten about, because Molly makes a comment about you got 2 months that you can drop out, and it's like, it's kind of cringy because I'm just like, why are we repeating this? And then you see the other brother and he's dating like a stripper, or you assume she's a stripper because she got the heels on. It's just kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of tired of this narrative, but at the same time, I wouldn't necessarily want to see like a Black-ish family for Molly, because then it'll be kind of like, oh yeah, of course, that would be your family. Because I'm not here to critique Insecure, I'm here to review Insecure. Until I get a check, it's really none of my business anyway. So onwards, it's Thanksgiving, everyone's having their dinners with their friends or their families, and then we see Lawrence having dinner with Condola and her friends for a Friendsgiving. And this is the scene where I'm like, even just Lawrence inviting himself was like, for what? I feel like he was imposing what was familiar behavior in his relationship with Issa, like, you know, being family oriented maybe because like everyone knew Lawrence and everyone liked Lawrence, and he's just kind of injecting himself into Condola's life instead of allowing her to invite him. The drunk friend at Condola's party was like awkwardly funny, and the dude who was like, I'm also wasted, I just display it differently or some shit like that, that is the quote of the decade. Okay, so Lawrence is talking to this drunk friend in the kitchen, and the drunk friend is going on and on about Condola's ex-husband and how the relationship pretty much ended all of a sudden and whatever, and this is how Condola was dealing with it. And she kind of hinted that she had a sloppy phase where she was just having fun, and it's just like, I mean, you're a divorcee, like, would you not want to? The last thing I think you're thinking about is getting married again right away. But she's drunk, so it's coming out really like loose termed. And then that one scene in the kitchen where Condola and Lawrence are having the conversation, I just was like, I wish I could have just recorded my reaction. Lawrence is literally word vomiting all these insecurities that are coming the fuck up because he does not want to be cheated on again. He does not want to be left again. He does not want to be broke again. He just doesn't want to go back to that space. And it's like, we get it. Like, these conversations are so mature, but yet they're having it in such a petty way that I think, damn, you had an opportunity, Lawrence. Like, you had a chance to really be like, you know what, these things came up and this is how I feel about it. But not everyone speaks like that. Like, don't come at me with that petty, pathetic, I'm still not over my jaded ways and blah, blah, blah. So after that happens, we get the last scene. This is some typical nigga shit. We know it's petty. We know it's like low vibrational. Like, we all know that we're better than hitting up our exes just because we're bored or just because we're in our feelings, but we're all guilty of it. We all resonate, and it's a perfect cliffhanger. I definitely think that Issa's gonna take her time with this season. I think she's gonna really drag on that narrative of, are they gonna get back together? Like, because it drives the conversation of, do you get back with your ex or not? And I just think it's something that's a timeless conversation. Like, it's always gonna be something that everyone wants to discuss because niggas don't know. So let me know what you guys think. If you like the series, if you guys want to see more of these. I love Insecure, so I'll be here next week. But hopefully I see you guys next week. If you like the video, let me know. Give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see y'all when I see y'all. And please, if you have not watched Insecure and you still here, bitch, I'm gonna need you to get your life now. Thank you.